Every now and then, something comes along that has never been seen before. For the indie horror scene, it was Five Nights at Freddy's, a new take on the horror genre that hasn't been done in game form. Even in game form, it was unique. You weren't wandering the forest looking for 7 pages or anything less for it, you were just simply sitting there. At its core, it's a sit and survive type of game. FNAF will come to revolutionize that genre and submit what made it so horrifying. The idea of being a sitting duck, pinched in between danger, the center of attraction. You're not going around the place finding the monsters are going around the place finding you, and you can't run. It's your job to do everything in your power to get them away from you while managing systems that ultimately keep you alive. Over the course of the franchise, that has been the staple of the gameplay. Some games would change it up a bit, and some would make it even better, but we can't deny this is one of the reasons why FNAF is scary.
Ahoy me mateys! It be your favorite swashbuckling buccaneer, Foxy, the Pirate Fox!
But even scarier than that was the concept of the games. In its most basic form, FNAF took the uncanny nature of childhood mascots and molded a surreal story around them. It took all the what-ifs associated with the idea of the pure nightmare feel associated with animatronic mascots and brought its centerfold into one package. And for a great deal of the games, it innovated that concept with rich and simple lore that worked as background pieces to enhance the overall fear factor of the franchise. But how was that ruined? I mean, the title of the video is How FNAF's Horror Was Ruined. The horror had to be ruined somewhere along the timeline. Was it the repetition of themes and mechanics that ruined it? Was it the story? Was it security? It was the story. Look, say what you will about the FNAF story, but we all have to agree that the story is far past its prime, and the fact that Scott and his team is still trying to beat the crap out of this dead afterplot about Afton and his bizarre adventure at Freddy's is really disappointing. FNAF should be in spin-off territory, not adding on plot again with this purple guy this, missing children that. How many pizzerias can burn down? Please gotta know a pattern by now, there's gotta be at least like a police code. To put it bluntly, the story got too goofy. How did we go from something that was grounded in realism with lore shrouded in mystery that had the whole community involved to robot children, time machine ball pits, and sentient goo? I'm at the point where Matt Pat could sit down and record his game theory and single-handedly convince me that the entirety of the FNAF universe takes place in William Afton's left nutsack. It's that goofy. Any sensible person would ignore the story. God knows you only watch Transformers for the action, not the story. Anyone who says otherwise is lying. And you used to be able to do that with FNAF. In the earlier games, the story was in the background, not at the forefront of the game. You give the gameplay and atmosphere the spotlight, and the lore was the additional treat you get for sticking around. That's what made it special. Ever felt the need to overshadow the experience and be in your face?
Oh! Are you serious? Springtrap! William Afton is in the game! William Afton is straight up in the game! Oh, brother!
It was comfortable with being jigsaw pieces that only got more complete the deeper you delved into the game. And the pieces that were left out were up to you to make yourself.
Game theory.
Nowadays, the story drives the game. That wouldn't be much of a problem if it was good.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's, an indie horror game that you guys suggested en masse, and
The original lore of the game wasn't any Lord of the Rings, but it didn't need to be. It was simple, the type of simple that was good for the game. It planted its concepts and built off of it, but now it seems like the games are stuck on the same concept. The FNAF storyline isn't really that good. It's not put together as neatly as it should be, and there's far too many twists and turns that contradict each other. In my opinion, Scott got lost in the sauce in Sister Location. Many people say Pizzeria Simulator is the perfect bookend for the storyline, but he could have been content with wrapping it up at 3. Every game past 3 could have been spin-offs. Project's not so worried about milking this dead cow. Yet despite that, we get Security Breach. I'm really excited to see Afton come back for the 3rd time. Oh! I don't think anyone was excited about how Security Breach turned out. I feel like it's such a different direction from the series that most of the horror is lost in it. I mean, it can be different, and I'm all for it, but somehow we still ended up stuck on Afton. Like the story is bending over backwards to bring him back.
Like, seriously, a serial killer virus? Really?
It also seems like the story and the games are feeding off of each other for excuses to be more and more goofy.
I remember this scenario.
In Sister Location, the idea of advanced AI robots out of a science fiction was an excuse for the whole animatronics taking over humans. I made a VR game making fun of the entire series as an excuse to make a virus that has a murder in it that can manifest into the real world. Those ideas can be cool on their own, but it's far too detached to the humble beginnings of the franchise. FNAF ruined its horrors as soon as it left the essence of what made it so great in the first place. Take this for example. I believe the community knows exactly what FNAF's prime is. Ever notice how most FNAF VHS will only portray the events from 1 through 3? Or fan games such as Candy's, Pop Go's, FNAF Plus focus on the earlier style of the FNAF franchise because that's when it was at its best. That's when the games could be taken seriously. I believe FNAF games stopped being scary a while back, but it still clung onto its horror. It had the elements of what could make it scary. Now it just seems goofy. I know the books aren't canon, but it seems like it's borrowing the crazy logic from there to justify some of the wackiest plotlines it could think of.
Are you serious? Springtrap!
But hey, just because it ruined its horror doesn't mean it's bad. FNAF will always be known for the legacy it's created despite how much it tries to ruin it.
Yeah, hello police. I'd like to report a fire.
I always come
Yeah,
back.
it's Freddy's again.